All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into one of the biggest shakeups in the entire auto industry, the incredible story of how the electric vehicle market got a brand new leader. Okay, let's get right into it. This one comment from a reader pretty much sums it all up. It just perfectly captures the shock that rippled through the industry in 2025. It points to this stunning reversal that, honestly, very few people saw coming, and it really sets the stage for what we're about to unpack. And there it is, the big headline. For the very first time, the EV race has a new king, and that signals a massive reshuffling of the deck in the global market. So the question is, how in the world did this happen? Well, let's follow the numbers. Okay, so let's get right into the 2025 sales showdown and see exactly how this power shift played out on a global scale. First up, BYD. For 2025, their global sales hit an absolutely staggering 2.26 million all-electric cars. That's a huge number, and it really speaks to their massive international push. Now, let's see how the reigning champ stacked up. In that very same time frame, Tesla delivered 1.64 million cars. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still an incredible number by any standard, but it just wasn't enough to hold on to that number one spot. And when you see them side by side like this, wow, it really hits home. We're talking about a gap of 620,000 vehicles. That means BYD sold a whopping 38% more cars than Tesla. And look, this didn't just happen by accident. It was a result of a hard-fought battle in key markets all over the world, with Europe really becoming the main stage. I mean, just look at Germany. We saw a complete flip in just 1 year. BYD's sales went through the roof, while Tesla's took a serious nosedive. But honestly, the story in the UK, that's even crazier. Okay, this table right here, this is where you can really see the ground move. Look at those UK numbers. Tesla sales actually dipped a bit, about 10%. But BYD, their sales just exploded by almost 5 times, jumping from under 9,000 cars to over 51,000. That's how they did it. That's how they took the lead. And here's what makes that even more dramatic. This wasn't happening in a dying market. No way. The UK's EV market was actually booming. It grew by 24%. So Tesla wasn't just stalling. They were losing ground while everyone else was speeding up, which, of course, leads to the big question: what on earth was going on behind the scenes? All right, let's break this down. What were the strategies, the strengths, and the stumbles that led to this massive shift? So on one side, you've got BYD just playing their cards perfectly. They rolled out a whole range of different models at prices that were super competitive. They were aggressive about exporting, and this is a big one, they have a vertically integrated supply chain. That means they make their own batteries, giving them this incredible control over costs. Then you look at Tesla. They were facing some serious headwinds. Their model lineup was getting a little old. It was their second year in a row with sales drops, competition was getting fierce, and there were also some political controversies that might have played a role. And you can't forget about government policy either. It plays a massive part. In the UK, they have something called the ZEV mandate, which basically forces car companies to sell a certain percentage of electric vehicles. What this does is it cranks up the competition to 11, and that's an environment where a company like BYD, who's ready to go big, can really just take off. And there were other big factors in play, too. For one, the UK doesn't have the same tariffs on Chinese EVs that the EU does. That's a huge price advantage for a brand like BYD. Add that to the fact that the Chinese government has been pouring support into its EV industry, and you get this. Chinese brands nearly doubled their slice of the UK market in a single year, hitting almost 10%. So, this is a big deal. But it's not just a story about two companies fighting for the top spot. This whole shift is sending out ripples across the entire industry, and it affects pretty much everyone. And you can see that ripple effect right here. First, you get this intense competition with all these new, affordable EVs hitting the market. That leads to step 2. Prices start coming down, which, hey, is great for all of us as consumers. But then you get to step 3, where the old-school legacy automakers have to scramble to adapt. And finally, step 4, governments get into heavy debates about things like trade tariffs and how to protect their own local industries. Okay, so it's pretty clear 2025 was a turning point. Leadership has changed hands, but this race is far from over. So what does the road ahead look like? Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question, right? What happens now? As we head into 2026, there are a bunch of big unknowns that are going to shape this next chapter of the EV story. So these are the questions everyone is asking. Can BYD actually keep this momentum going and turn it into long-term dominance? What's Tesla's next move, especially since they don't have any new models planned for 2026? Could a big tech breakthrough, like with full self-driving, be the wild card that brings them roaring back? And what about politics? Will we see European countries start changing their trade rules? Or maybe, are car buyers just starting to see Tesla as less of the hot new thing? And that really brings us to the final big thought here. Is what we saw in 2025 the new normal? Are we looking at a permanent power shift where it's not just about one dominant player, but about fierce global competition from all sides? One thing's for sure, this race is just getting started. And that's our breakdown of this huge shift in the EV market. Thanks so much for watching.